What's up, Facebook Live? Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you're tuning in, love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, love to know three things you're grateful for. Let me get Instagram going real quick. What's up, Instagram? Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you're tuning in, love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, love to know three things you're grateful for. Today, we're going to be talking on day 10 of the Personal Performance and Business Growth Challenge. We're going to be talking about how to get the most out of your brain every single day. And I actually messed this up today. So I'm excited to share with you something that's really important. And I normally do this so well, but every now and then it happens. So what's up from Romania? Nice to see you. Bucharest. Hello from Canada. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Brian, what's up? Nice to see you. Elizabeth, welcome. Zachary, nice to see you. Women with Sparkles, welcome. Let's see. So again, as you're tuning in, love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, love to know three things you're grateful for. Hey, what is that? Newman, Georgia, nice to see you. Isaac, welcome back. Heidi, nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. Heidi's in Chicago. Hello from Tunisia. Welcome. In Indiana. Welcome, welcome. And so, real quick, Pennsylvania, nice to see you. Welcome. Grateful for family, health, and education. Finally get to see the live video. Very cool. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up from New York City? Grateful for Long Island. Grateful for family, faith, and friends. Very cool. What's up, Vegas, UK? Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. Tuning in from Sherman Oaks, California. Isaac, nice to see you. Grateful for family and health. Great. Hello from Amsterdam. Welcome. Hello, the UK. Grateful for God, family, and health. Very nice. From India. Welcome, welcome. From New York. Love your content. So, if we're going to look at something, if you want to get the most out of your brain every day, then we gotta make little distinctions on how you're using your brain's energy every day. So if we were to draw a line down the middle, and we just draw a line straight down the middle, and we said half of this is going to be creative, and half of this is going to be more either technical or logical. So if we drew a line like this, this is something really simple to pay attention to and say, when you're scheduling your day, this is a little hack that works really well. When you're scheduling your day, do you currently put your creative tasks next to your logical or technical tasks? So I messed this one up today because we had a team meeting and we had a logical technical task we had to think through. And then directly after, I had a coaching session, which for me usually is more creative thinking, helping my clients solve specific solutions or specific challenges going on and coming up with great solutions. One thing that landed up happening in that moment was my brain, and I don't know how many of you, just by raise of hands or by it's me, how many of you are let's say, either type in logic or creative in the little comments here. I want to know how many people are logical and how many of you are very creative. The majority of the time. Obviously, you can do both, but which one is your greatest strength? Which one do you go to more often? Which one is the natural way for you? Meaning, if you could, it's just the natural way of being. Let's see how everyone is. So logical, creative. So we got 50-50 so far. Logical. Okay, creative, logic. So it's just going back and forth. More logical on Facebook over here. Creative, logic, creative. Okay, so let's say it's 50-50. Just throwing it out there. Now, how many of you have a hard time? Let's say you're going through the day and you are in your sweet spot, meaning you found your zone. And let's just draw a picture. If you're right here you found the sweet spot, the bullseye, and you're just killing it. You're in your zone at this part of the day. Like, you're absolutely in your zone. How many of you have a real hard time going from in your zone and switching over to the opposite? How many of you have a hard time doing that? Meaning, you're in your zone over here, you're hitting the bullseye, you're absolutely crushing it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I have a task to do, but it requires me literally to jump over this hurdle and access an entirely different part of my brain. This one is either your logical side or your creative side, and this one is the opposite. How many of you have a difficult time doing that? Oh, Josh says, I struggle getting into my zone. So we'll handle that in a second. Naeem says, I do. No problem. I constantly do it and love it. Heidi says, very cool. Chris says, I make the two different to-do lists. I take care of the logical list and leave the creative up to the universe. Interesting. Hard to shift over. No problem. I do it constantly. Okay. So what's interesting, for most people, if you want to save time, so I get lots of clients who tell me all the time, and Josh had a specific thing. Josh said, I have a tough time. And so here's the other question. How many have a tough time, if you're in the creative side or logical side, how many have a tough time getting into that? Even if it's your sweet spot, it's getting into it. You have to rev it up. Meaning, you sit down and you're like, okay, I need to write. I need to write right now. I need to blog something. I need to write a chapter of my book. I need to write something. I need to, to get creative. And how many have a tough time accessing your creativity? Because there's another tip that I could throw in here as well on today's little session. So when you're going for your goals, you're going to have to access it, the logical part or the creative part of your brain. This is normal and natural. For most people, they always tell me the number one thing that's keeping me from getting what I want is either I don't know what to do, or I know what to do, but I don't have enough time to get it all done. Now, what that's telling me is often, and think of this, if you have to bounce back and forth all day long between these two, do you think that there's some time right smack here in the middle that's getting wasted right here? Do you think there's a little bit of time getting wasted as you go back and forth? Now, for most people, this is the first place, if you're trying to achieve more than you've ever done before this year, the first place you can save some time is really simply, if you have your calendar for the day, I need a different marker, this one's dying. If you have your calendar for the day, this is going to be really simple, but it's literally a time saver. Take your creative stuff and block it off, create a little bit of space in between to reset, and then take your logical stuff and block it off. So you might start today up here with creativity, and then you're going to have a little break to go take a walk, to stretch out, and then you're going to come right back and go right back into logic. So what's happening is, instead of having to go back and forth and lose time right smack here in the middle, instead of losing the time that you're switching back and forth in business, it's cost of, I forget the exact term, but a friend of mine called this switch tasking. So basically, you're in creative mode and you got to stop, you got to shut off your creativity. You got to walk over here, kickstart this side of your brain, get it up and running. Then you got to start logically thinking. And then after logically thinking, you got to stop. You got to drag yourself back over here. And then you got to creatively kick it into gear. Instead of doing that all day, take the first chunk and say, hey, this chunk is going to be my creativity chunk. I'm going to do everything creative for these few hours. I'm going to take, 15, 20, 30-minute break. I'm going to go stretch, work out, do something. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to have my logical stretch of focus here. And then I'm going to call it a day. Now, what's happening is you're going to save all the time that was caught up right here in the middle, which doesn't seem like a lot in the moment, but if you add it up all day, it's a lot of time wasted for most people going back and forth. And all of a sudden, if you chunk it together in two different chunks of the day or different days, you might have, day one of the week is all creative projects. Day two of the week is all logical projects. And it's like, oh, this day is creative. This day is logical. Dunzo. Now you only have to access one major part of your brain for that day, which is really nice, actually. You get into the creative flow, or you get into the logical details flow, and you just disappear in the moment. Now, for people who have trouble accessing their creative zone, so accessing this piece, when I was writing a book, I had a writing coach that I hired to help me get ready for the process. And one thing she taught me was, for most of us are very creative. Most of us have lots of amazing ideas. Most of us can solve just about any situation that we get into, except for most of us have not set up the right environment to be able to access the full capacity of our creativity, or our intelligence, or our logical side of our brain. And so one thing she had me do is set up, like, this is my little room. She said, okay, I want you to create a space, either a chair or a desk. I'm going to put a little, let me see if I can draw a chair. Ring. There. So this is my little desk and chair. She says, I want this to become your writing station. Now, what this is going to mean is, for the next 30 days or however long you're writing, you're going to do nothing at this desk except for write. She said, I want you to go get, a jacket. I don't know if I could draw a jacket. I could try. Let's say a hat. So she's like, I want you to go get a hat. That is a messed up hat. Let me see if I can do it again. There. It's kind of a hat. I want you to get a specific hat. No, it doesn't look like a hat on camera. Anyways, I want you to get a hat and an outfit, and I want you to specifically only wear that hat and outfit when you're going to be creative in writing. She's like, then I want you to get a specific pen and only use that pen when you're going to be writing. And then I want you to get, and you get where this is going. She had it set up, and these are little physical anchors where every piece I was using was only being used for that specific task. That way, she goes, this prevents writer's block. Otherwise, what happens is someone sits down and goes, come on, brain, kick in, go, get creative, come up with something. And then you're like, I don't know. And then you're thinking about something last week you were doing at the desk, and then thinking about something else that's going on. And then you're like, I've got writer's block. And she taught me, she said, writer's block is nothing more than your body trying to respond to a bunch of different cues and stimuli that has nothing to do with writing. She said, if you can train your body that every time you pick up this pen, your brain accesses writing mode, all of a sudden you access instantly, by setting off the trigger, you access your brain going directly into writing mode instantaneously. I was like, that makes sense. And so one thing, if you're going to want to speed up and properly use your brain juice, let's say there's a limited amount, you want to use all of it to the best of capacity. Number one, you want to separate and group like tasks together. So put creative tasks together, put logical tasks together, put phone calls together, put, meetings together, put spreadsheets together, and put, other things together. That's one piece. The next piece is creating little anchors, like this pen is only used to write in my creative sessions, or, this hat, this outfit, this desk, this chair, this thing is only used for this. Now, what's interesting is this came up by another friend of mine. He said most people lie in bed and do all kinds of stuff, and then those same people have trouble falling asleep at night. And he says the problem is they've trained themselves that when they're lying in their bed, their brain accesses all the things it's supposed to do here. So they're supposed to be watching TV, they're supposed to be reading a book, they're supposed to be talking to their friend, they're supposed to be listening to something else. Some people are eating food. So you lie down in bed and go, okay, body, go to sleep. Why am I not sleeping? Because your body has not figured out that bed means sleep. And he says, so one thing you can do that'll transform your ability to sleep and fall asleep quickly is take everything out of your bed. And he says, bed is for making love and sleeping. And he goes, if you train your body, that's the only thing you ever do in bed, you'll watch your sleep quality go up. Now, what's interesting is if you look around at everything else you're doing and say, wow, how could I start creating spaces, even if you have a little tiny apartment? how do I create spaces where I do sales over here, I do my calls over here, I do my creativity over here, I eat over here, I make love over here, I sleep over here. That concept where your body gets used to, when I go to this place, here's what to do, brain and body. And what happens is it becomes really simple, but it starts to allow your body and brain to get the most out of everything you're doing in that space. So real simple. My challenge to you for today, day 10 of this journey, hopefully you're enjoying it and learning great stuff. My challenge for you today, really simple. Set up your environment, and you can draw a little picture if you want, and just mentally label what are you going to do in each space, and make it a commitment for the next 30 days to only do that thing in that space. So, if you made your bed, it's making love and sleep. That's the only thing that's going to go on in the bed. If I have my desk is going to be for writing my book, and that's it. And then if I have over here, this spot's going to be for my workout, and this spot's going to be for my eating. And all of a sudden you have this whole little setup, and only one thing is happening in each place. Now, I give you this challenge, but I'll tell you, it works. I've done this. And when we're at our best, my wife and I do this really well. When we're struggling, it's usually because we've allowed other things to start sneaking in other spaces. Meaning, oh man, I just have to answer this text message real quick. Here, let me lie down next to you and snuggle while I'm answering this text. And all of a sudden, I've allowed someone to come hang out with us in a place they shouldn't be hanging out with us. And then, oh my gosh, in my reading space where I always sit down to read, I brought my computer and I'm answering an email real quick. And what's doing is you're starting to confuse your brain. So just clean it up. Pick what you do in each spot and pick max 1 or 2 things you do there and lock it down for 30 days and watch what happens. Watch how you activate more of your brain, more of your body. Someone asked, how do you stay in a peak state? Train yourself that when you're in this place, peak state. And all of a sudden, all you do is go back to the place and then you start feeling good again. Now, I know lots of you who've been to any of my dad's events have experienced this. Why? Because when you're in that environment, you train yourself to feel great, say yes, all this stuff. As soon as you show up to the environment, you're back. And all that happened was that environment was trained. When you're here, you do this. So hopefully this is helpful. If it is, pass it on, tag a friend. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for day 11. Kick some butt, have some fun. I'll talk to you all soon.